now to a major shakeup in the world of sports. So earlier today, the FBI announced charges against Portland Trail Blazers coach Chauncey Billups and Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier in connection to separate but related gambling charges. Also charged today, former Cleveland Cavalier guard Dave.
They said it could never happen, that the NBA was clean, the referees were honest, and the players? Untouchable. But this morning, the league just detonated the biggest scandal in modern sports history. 24 clubs, lifetime bans, and a money trail that leads straight into the heart of the NBA's billion-dollar machine. According to leaked federal documents obtained by sources close to the investigation, what began as a routine audit exploded into a full-scale FBI probe spanning 11 states. Players, coaches, even team executives suddenly under suspicion. Millions in hidden bets, offshore accounts, rigged outcomes, and a commissioner who reportedly tried to contain the fire until it burned through the walls. The phrase integrity of the game has never sounded this hollow. Because if what investigators found is true, this isn't just about gambling. It's about betrayal at the highest level, where loyalty had a price tag and silence came with bonuses.
Director Kash Patel, during a news conference about this investigation, here's what he was able to tell us.
This is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that's...
So buckle up, because when the FBI raids arenas and the NBA hands out lifetime bans like parking tickets, you know something unthinkable just happened. It started with a whisper, a single text thread that someone was never supposed to see. According to an internal source who spoke only under encrypted protection, a mid-level analytics staffer inside the NBA's own integrity unit flagged unusual betting spikes tied to injuries that hadn't even been announced yet. At first, it looked like coincidence. Then came the pattern: 11 games, 7 franchises, all with the same betting fingerprints. The odds moved before the news did. That's when the FBI got the call. By dawn, subpoenas were flying. Digital forensics teams traced offshore payments bouncing from Las Vegas to the Bahamas, then to shell corporations registered under names of retired trainers and assistant coaches. What the agents uncovered next blew the entire lid off. 24 franchises linked to one coordinated gambling pipeline. Not players sneaking in a few bets, not a rogue referee, but an underground network moving tens of millions through crypto wallets disguised as consulting fees. And at the center of it all, one internal memo marked for commissioners' eyes only. Leaked lines from that memo, which our source says was accidentally copied to an external drive, read like something out of a spy thriller. Patterns consistent with game manipulation, significant risk to league credibility, recommend immediate containment. Containment? That word alone tells you everything. The league knew something was boiling long before the public heard a whisper. Fast forward to the morning the news broke. Federal agents staged synchronized raids in Portland, Miami, New York, and Los Angeles. 72 search warrants, 31 arrests, 11 confiscated servers, and a stunned commissioner forced to sign the most devastating punishment in NBA history. 24 clubs permanently banned. No appeal. No negotiation. Just erased from the record books. Insiders described the internal chaos as apocalyptic. Executives smashing phones, lawyers locking down meeting rooms, PR teams rewriting statements every hour. One anonymous franchise owner reportedly screamed during a conference call, "You can't ban 24 teams. You'll kill the league." But the FBI wasn't asking for opinions. They had evidence: wire transfers, encrypted chats, burner phones, and surveillance footage from private suites showing team personnel exchanging coded notes during live games.
Coordinated takedown across 11 states to arrest over 30 individuals today responsible for this case, which is very much ongoing. Not only did we crack into the fraud that these perpetrators committed on the grand stage of the NBA, but we also entered and executed a system of justice against La Cosa Nostra to include the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese crime family.
Let that sink in. While fans were screaming at referees, deals were being sealed in VIP boxes. One clip, according to leaked case files, shows an assistant general manager texting a bookmaker mid-timeout. Injury confirmed. Bench him. 30 seconds later, the player sits down, grimacing on cue. Millions shift in betting markets instantly. Coincidence? The FBI says otherwise. When the arrests began, the world learned names that once defined franchises. A Hall of Fame coach, 2 former All-Stars, a retired referee with links to an East Coast betting syndicate, and behind them, a shadow ring allegedly backed by organized crime families operating out of New York and Miami. If that sounds cinematic, remember, we've been here before. History just repeated itself, only bigger, dirtier, and this time, televised. At the Bureau's press conference, Director Kash Patel called it the most extensive sports corruption probe in American history. He stood beside a table stacked with seized evidence, modded shuffling machines, burner phones, hard drives labeled with team logos. Patel's exact words? This operation infiltrated professional basketball from the locker room to the boardroom. Translation: no one's hands are clean. Meanwhile, inside league headquarters, panic disguised itself as professionalism. Adam Silver appeared calm on camera, reading from a teleprompter about integrity and transparency. But off mic, according to 2 insiders, he was livid. He'd been briefed months earlier that something was off, but internal counsel advised silence until federal authorities confirmed. That silence may cost him his legacy. Players across the league woke up to chaos. Group chats exploded with messages like, "They got who?" and "delete everything." One veteran reportedly threw his phone into a pool. Another fired his agent. By midday, social media was flooded with screenshots, some real, some faked, of betting slips tied to star names. Hashtags like #NBAgate and #RigLeague trended within hours. But the wildest part? Fans weren't surprised. They'd seen the signs. Strange lineups, sudden injuries, suspicious point spreads that flipped minutes before tip-off. Every odd game now looked like a clue everyone missed. According to our investigation, the money trail started with legitimate endorsement funnels. Agents funneled appearance fees into consulting LLCs, which quietly shifted into offshore exchanges. Those wallets then funded prop bets placed through intermediaries in jurisdictions with weak oversight. Think about the scale. A global betting ecosystem feeding on NBA intel before the odds even hit the market. And yes, there's chatter of internal whistleblowers being threatened.
It's not thousands of dollars. It's not tens of thousands of dollars. It's not even millions of dollars. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud, theft, and robbery across a multi.
One source claims 2 data analysts were forced into NDA extensions after raising concerns in 2024. Another said he was transferred to a new department 3 days after flagging betting anomalies. When he refused to sign his new contract, security escorted him out. His statement leaked last week, and it's chilling. They told me I was protecting the brand, but the brand was already sold. Every empire hides its cracks until the foundation splits. The NBA's split under the weight of greed disguised as innovation. Legalized betting partnerships were supposed to grow the sport. Instead, they opened the door to manipulation. And the FBI's evidence shows how deep that door went. Emails labeled analytics optimization were actually betting pattern spreadsheets. Sponsorship invoices masked laundering transactions. Even charity foundations were allegedly used to route winnings. When confronted, several teams claimed ignorance. But prosecutors say ignorance doesn't erase fingerprints. Among the seized items, for encrypted laptops, one belonging to a franchise accountant, loaded with betting logs under file names like Travel Budget 2025. The irony? Those logs matched offshore bets down to the decimal. Now, here's where it turns cinematic. At precisely 6:43 a.m., Portland Trail Blazers practice facility, once the symbol of discipline and brotherhood, was surrounded by unmarked SUVs. Agents stormed in, computers seized, cameras rolling. Staff described it as a movie you don't want to star in. The footage, insiders say, will surface soon, and when it does, the internet will explode. League insiders call this the basketball apocalypse. But the FBI has another name for it: Operation Backboard. A 3-year mission targeting criminal infiltration of professional sports. They weren't just looking at players, They were watching the league itself. Wiretaps, surveillance drones, financial analysts disguised as journalists. For nearly 2 years, federal teams built the case, without the NBA realizing it was under watch. And still, questions burn. How many knew? How many stayed silent? Did the commissioner's office delay the truth to protect the playoffs? One leaked internal chat between senior executives reads, "Hold the statement until after finals revenue clears." If that line is authentic, it's game over for everyone at the top. As of tonight, 24 clubs are gone, hundreds of careers evaporated, and the NBA's so-called integrity model lies in pieces. Federal indictments are stacking up, sponsors are freezing deals, and fans are questioning whether the sport they love was ever real. Because here's the truth, stripped of the PR polish, this wasn't a scandal born overnight. It was grown, watered, and protected inside the system until the FBI kicked the door open. And while the headlines scream, lifetime ban, the real story is darker. Money bought silence, and silence built empires. So as the league scrambles to patch the leaks, one question lingers louder than the rest. If 24 teams were caught, how many slipped through untouched? By the next morning, federal vans were still parked outside arenas while ESPN anchors tried to sound calm reading statements that made no sense. The NBA called it an unprecedented disciplinary measure. That's corporate code for "we just lost control." The first press conference looked more like a funeral. Reporters were told not to ask about ongoing investigations. Translation: everything you're about to hear is a lie. Behind those microphones, the league's legal team was already negotiating plea deals. According to a leaked memo from inside the commissioner's office, several franchises were offered cooperation leniency if they surrendered evidence before indictments hit. One owner allegedly shipped 3 terabytes of encrypted data directly to the FBI in exchange for partial immunity. 3 terabytes. That's not emails, that's entire seasons of surveillance footage, player communications, payroll logs, and private team chats. You don't hand that over unless you're terrified. And they should be. Federal prosecutors confirmed that at least 7 of those 24 banned clubs had direct ties to international betting brokers operating through crypto exchanges in Singapore and the Cayman Islands. The scheme was genius in its simplicity. Leak inside info to offshore gamblers, get a percentage of the winnings, hide it behind data analytics consultancy fees. They even created fake startups to launder payments, names like CourtVision AI and Ball Data Solutions. If you Google them, you'll find polished websites with buzzwords about predictive modeling. What you won't find are employees. According to 2 whistleblowers now under federal protection, meetings about performance optimization were actually strategy sessions for fixing prop bets. Coaches were allegedly told to rest starters after specific timeouts to manipulate live betting odds. In one leaked recording, a team coordinator can be heard saying, "Pull him now, the spread just shifted." Seconds later, the player fakes a cramp and sits. Millions move. This wasn't gambling gone wrong. It was institutionalized fraud. The same league that preaches integrity built its empire on sponsorships with the very betting companies that profited from the manipulation. DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM all ran record-breaking promos during the seasons under investigation. Imagine the irony. The ads telling fans to bet responsibly were funding the corruption fans were betting on. But the story turns darker when you follow the personal fallout. One unnamed assistant coach, arrested in the Arizona sweep, reportedly confessed to leaking injury reports in exchange for paying off $400,000 in gambling debt. His statement mentioned violent collectors, describing men who didn't ask twice. That matches FBI claims that organized crime enforcers were assigned to ensure cooperation. Yes, the same 4 New York families named in earlier reports appear again: Bonanno, Gambino, Lucchese, and Genovese. This isn't rumor, it's written in the indictment. The mafia infiltrated America's favorite game. As evidence mounted, more arrests followed. A former referee turned league consultant was caught attempting to flee to Costa Rica. A data science executive resigned hours before her scheduled testimony. And one assistant GM, whose name is being withheld pending charges, allegedly tried to destroy a phone by tossing it into a smoothie blender. The device still worked. On social media, chaos erupted. Hashtags like #NBARigged and #SilverNew trended for days. Conspiracy channels flooded YouTube, with breakdowns claiming the league staged entire playoff runs. Fans replayed old games, looking for signs, mysterious timeouts, missed free throws, uncalled fouls. Every bad referee call suddenly looked criminal. The trust was gone. Inside the NBA's Manhattan headquarters, panic shifted to damage control. A crisis PR firm drafted new talking points. This is a wake-up call for reform. Another internal email, leaked within hours, revealed executives discussing monetizing transparency. That's right, they were already planning a docuseries to profit off their own disaster. One insider joked, "If we can't fix the game, we can stream the scandal." Meanwhile, former players lined up to distance themselves. Charles Barkley called it the dumbest thing I've ever seen, while Shaquille O'Neal told TNT audiences, "Everybody knew the rules, don't bet on what feeds you." But privately, players were furious that leadership blamed them while executives cut deals. Several current stars demanded independent audits. Others lawyered up. The fallout extended beyond the league. Major sponsors, including Nike and Gatorade, quietly froze endorsement renewals, citing integrity concerns. Stock prices of NBA-partnered betting apps plunged nearly 18% in 2 days. The ripple effect hit ESPN, Disney, even streaming services that carried NBA content. Billions in brand value evaporated in 48 hours. Federal investigators say the scandal began years earlier, during the pandemic lull when teams played in empty arenas. With no fans watching, betting volumes skyrocketed online. Information leaks became currency. Trainers, staffers, even security guards realized they could sell pre-game intel. What started as whispers turned into organized operations. And because the NBA partnered publicly with gambling platforms, no one suspected insider leaks. They looked like engagement boosts. The FBI's internal timeline shows how methodical the operation was. Step 1. Recruit insiders through gambling debt or lifestyle perks. Step 2. Use offshore accounts to hide payouts. Step 3. Manipulate minor games first to avoid suspicion. Step 4. Expand to nationally televised matchups once trust was established. Step 5. Silence whistleblowers by threatening exposure or violence. The detail that haunts investigators most is how long it worked. Nearly 3 seasons unchecked. One of the most explosive revelations came from a seized hard drive labeled benchplan_V3. It contained simulation software predicting outcomes of fixed plays. The creator? An analytics director employed by one of the banned franchises. The software could model injury effects, referee tendencies, and betting spreads in real time. The FBI described it as artificial intelligence built for corruption. That line alone will headline every documentary to come. League officials attempted to frame the issue as isolated incidents. But leaked Slack logs tell another story. In one thread dated March 2024, an executive joked, "If Vegas calls, tell them we're resting half the lineup." Replies included laughing emojis. Those messages are now evidence exhibits. By week's end, Adam Silver faced reporters again. Cameras zoomed in on his trembling hands as he read a statement about restoring trust. Yet the press already knew the truth. Multiple former league employees were cooperating witnesses. One even claimed the commissioner's office delayed the ban announcement until television advertisers finalized opening week contracts. If verified, that's obstruction dressed as strategy. The global impact was immediate. The EuroLeague suspended collaboration talks. China's CBA terminated licensing agreements. FIFA released a statement condemning cross-sport integrity breaches. The NBA went from America's gold standard to an international punchline overnight. And through it all, anonymous insiders kept leaking. One sent us a voice memo allegedly recorded inside a team owner's emergency call. You can hear someone say, "If they open our books, we're all done." The clip ends with silence, then a single sigh. They already have. That's the power of federal subpoenas. They don't ask, they take. Phones, servers, cloud backups, all now evidence. The Department of Justice confirmed the possibility of RICO charges, meaning this isn't just gambling, it's organized crime prosecution. Lifetime bans might be the least of their problems. Fans keep asking one question: can the NBA survive? The real answer: maybe, but not the version we knew. The league will rebrand, restructure, and pretend reform equals redemption. But you can't unrig history. Every buzzer beater, every comeback win from the last 3 years will be replayed with suspicion. Did he make that shot, or was it scripted? As the dust settles, one thing's certain: the scoreboard doesn't tell the story anymore. The FBI does. And the next wave of indictments, insiders whisper, will name people no one expected: commentators, agents, maybe even a former commissioner. Because once the truth starts leaking, there's no timeout long enough to stop it. The day after the lifetime bans, the NBA felt like a ghost town. Practice facilities were empty, press rooms silent, and social media managers had nothing left to post except recycled highlights from safer years. 24 franchises had been wiped off the schedule, and yet no one dared to say the word collapse. They called it a temporary restructuring. That's the corporate version of pretending your house didn't burn down because you're still standing in the ashes. Inside the league offices, every remaining executive was lawyered up. Phones were confiscated, servers wiped, and interns who once fetched coffee were now fielding subpoenas. One insider described it as the quietest loud crisis ever. Emails from sponsors came with cheerful subject lines like partnership renewal, followed by 3 paragraphs of legal distancing. Nobody wanted to be associated with a brand that just made the FBI trend on TikTok. Players who weren't implicated tried to act normal. They posted workout clips, family photos, motivational quotes about resilience. But every comment section turned into interrogation. Did you know? Were you in on it? How much did you bet? The internet doesn't forgive, and it definitely doesn't forget. One player deleted his account after fans uncovered screenshots of his brother bragging about winning big on the under. Another quietly moved his family out of state. The talk shows went feral. Stephen A. Smith called it a disgrace of biblical proportions. Shannon Sharpe joked, even the refs betting on themselves would have been cheaper. But the laughter didn't last long. The deeper the networks dug, the uglier it looked. Financial statements showed executives earning performance bonuses during games later proven to be manipulated. The bonuses matched betting payouts to the dollar. Coincidence? Please. Then came the leaks, the kind you can't spin. A series of internal emails surfaced showing league lawyers coordinating with outside consultants months before the scandal broke. One subject line read, "Crisis simulation, if betting scandal ever surfaces." Translation: they knew exactly what was coming. The timing was damning. Those emails were dated 2 weeks before the FBI raids. Someone inside the league tried to get ahead of the storm. They just didn't realize the storm was already inside the building. Meanwhile, the banned teams became legends for all the wrong reasons. Portland's arena doors were chained shut, banners stripped from rafters. Miami's jerseys vanished from official stores overnight. On eBay, collectors started listing old team merch under the tag Forbidden Era. Prices tripled within days. Scandal sells, especially when it smells like history. The human fallout hit harder. Coaches who once lectured about discipline now faced decades in prison. A former MVP was spotted leaving court with his head down, whispering to reporters, "I didn't think it would go this far." Families collapsed under public humiliation. Kids got bullied at school for their parents' crimes. One assistant trainer's wife filed for divorce the same morning her husband's indictment went public. She cited irreparable shame. And yet, through all the wreckage, the money kept moving. Federal accountants traced fresh transactions from dormant team accounts to new companies registered under suspiciously similar names. It was like watching snakes shed their skin and keep slithering. When the Justice Department announced additional arrests, including 2 accountants and a former league data analyst, one investigator said, "This isn't cleanup, it's continuation." For fans, the heartbreak was personal. Basketball wasn't just entertainment, it was escape. And now even that was rigged. Reddit threads read like group therapy sessions. "I grew up on this league," wrote one fan. Now I feel like I've been cheering for a lie. Another comment just said, delete my memories. The betrayal hit deeper than money. It was spiritual. But where there's scandal, there's spin. 2 weeks later, the NBA launched a glossy new campaign titled Rebuild the Game. The ad featured slow-motion shots of children dribbling basketballs under hopeful music, while Adam Silver's voice narrated about lessons learned. The comments were brutal. You learn to get caught. Nice rebrand, FBI edition. The video hit 5 million views in 12 hours, mostly hate-watching. Privately, league insiders admitted the campaign wasn't about redemption. It was about survival. Investors threatened to pull billions unless the NBA convinced the public it could police itself. So the league created a new department, Integrity and Transparency Division. Translation: the old liars got new badges. The same people who ignored whistleblowers were now the faces of reform. But the FBI wasn't finished. Operation Backboard entered Phase 2. Asset forfeitures. Luxury cars, real estate holdings, offshore accounts, all seized. A leaked inventory list showed confiscated jewelry, including a championship ring modified to hide a micro-SD card. Inside that card, digital betting records linked to 3 team executives. Hollywood couldn't write irony like that. Court hearings turned into spectacle. Reporters camped outside federal buildings as former stars shuffled past flashing cameras. One player pleaded guilty in exchange for testimony against his coach. Another broke down crying, insisting he'd been blackmailed. The public didn't care who was innocent. They just wanted someone to blame. When sentencing began, the headlines wrote themselves. From MVP to inmate, Hall of Fame coach faces 20 years. Gambling empire built on buzzer beaters. Each story fed the next algorithm cycle, keeping the scandal alive long after the games were gone. YouTube compilations of suspicious plays racked up millions of views. People started betting on who'd get arrested next. That's the twisted poetry of modern outrage, turning corruption into content. Yet beneath the noise, a quieter story brewed. Rumors spread that one of the whistleblowers was a current executive still inside League HQ, leaking evidence to pressure a plea deal. Some insiders call them the Ghost. Every few days, new files appear online, emails, photos, even recorded meetings. Nobody knows who's releasing them. All we know is they're real enough to make lawyers panic. And then came the leak no one expected, a 27-minute audio file allegedly capturing a private conversation between Adam Silver and an unnamed owner. In the recording, a voice that sounds eerily like Silver says, "If we fall, everyone falls." The owner replies, "Then we better build a new league before they bury the old one." The clip ends with silence. The league denied it immediately. But denial means nothing when the internet already decided it's true. By now, the NBA isn't fighting the FBI anymore. It's fighting memory. Every fan replaying a highlight becomes a juror. Every podcast dissecting the scandal becomes a courtroom. And every remaining team lives under suspicion. You can rebuild an arena. You can't rebuild trust. Still, hope lingers in strange places. Streetball tournaments pop up across cities, calling themselves the real league. Independent players live stream games under the slogan "No bets, just ball." Maybe that's where the soul of the sport survives, outside the billion-dollar bubble that sold it. As for the band clubs, their fates are sealed. Some owners are bankrupt, others vanished overseas. One was last seen boarding a private jet to Dubai, leaving behind a note that simply read, "Check the books." No one knows what that means, but everyone's waiting to find out. The FBI says more names are coming. Another 35 sealed indictments sit in a Brooklyn vault, ready to drop when the timing's right. Insiders whisper those files contain everything: the deals, the offshore accounts, even a few media executives who allegedly helped bury stories. The house of cards isn't done collapsing, it's just catching its breath. And through all of it, one truth keeps echoing. Corruption doesn't destroy from the outside, it grows from within. The NBA didn't get infiltrated. It evolved into its own enemy. So when history looks back on this moment, it won't just remember the bans or the billions lost. It'll remember the silence that followed, The silence of a league that thought it was too powerful to fall, and a fan base that finally stopped believing in fairy tale endings. Because sometimes the game isn't lost on the court, it's lost in the boardroom, long before the whistle ever blows. Maybe the saddest part isn't the arrests, not the lifetime bans, not even the billions that vanished into offshore accounts. It's the silence that followed. The same players who once roared under arena lights now sit behind courtroom tables, whispering to lawyers instead of fans. The same franchises that defined decades of loyalty are now digital ghosts, erased from history like they never existed. And still, the questions linger. How many others knew? How deep did it go? Who turned off the cameras before the truth hit the screen? The FBI says their work isn't over, and maybe it never will be. Because every document unsealed leads to 2 more sealed tighter. Every whistleblower's testimony opens a dozen new secrets. The world thought this was a scandal about gambling, but it's bigger than that. It's about greed dressed as ambition. About the illusion of fair play in a billion-dollar empire that rewards silence more than honesty. It's about watching heroes fall, not because they lost, but because they lied. And now, every shot, every stat, every cheer feels tainted. The scoreboard might still light up, but something inside the game is permanently dark. Maybe that's what corruption really is. Not a crime you commit, but a faith you lose. So when the next season starts and the lights go back on, remember what we just saw. Because this story isn't ending. It's just beginning.